Hi guys, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Friday and we're going to look at a soundtrack today. Firstly, I'd just like to thank any of you that stopped in on Wednesday and joined us for our 200th episode. Hope you enjoyed that and maybe you found something interesting in that top 10 list. So today we're going to look at a movie's soundtrack. And this movie came out in the early 70s, either 71 or 72. And it was very controversial at the time. Banned in some countries, developed a cult following, has kind of been reevaluated, and is one of the classic movies of the 70s. And the movie we're looking at is Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. Now, Clockwork Orange is based on the novel by Anthony Burgess. The movie's about a street gang headed up by Alex, who had a real interest in the music of Ludwig van Beethoven. Now, the album contains some Beethoven songs. The album also has a lot of music by Walter Carlos, who at this point in time, from the late 60s, had some popularity with an album called Switched on Bach, where he was playing classical music utilizing the Moog synthesizer. And he was one of the main pioneers of using Moog in music and rock music and introducing it to the masses. And we get some of those performances on this album. To give you some idea of what we got now, main title for Clockwork Orange, Henry Purcell's music for the funeral of Queen Mary, performed by Walter Carlos on Moog. We got the Thieving Magpie, and this is a Deutsche Grammophon recording, and a lot of Deutsche Grammophon recordings appear on here. And that was a very popular classical label at the time. Theme from Clockwork Orange, again composed by Carlos and performed by him, Ninth Symphony, the second movement by Beethoven, Deutsche Grammophon. March from A Clockwork Orange. Well, this is actually part of the ninth movement, Ninth Symphony, fourth movement, Ludwig van Beethoven, performed by Carlos again. So a lot of Moog in here. William Tell Overture, Walter Carlos. Pomp and Circumstance, March number 1 and March number 4 by Sir Edgar Elgar. Both appear in the natural classical performances. We got Time Step, Overture to the Sun. I Want to Marry a Lighthouse Keeper, very different. I mean, this is not either the Moog, it's not the classical. It's one of those tunes that are kind of out of place, but had a very prominent place in the movie. William Tell Overture, again a Deutsche Grammophon recording. Suicide Scherzo was Ludwig van Beethoven, the Ninth Symphony, second movement, and this one again performed by Carlos. Ninth Symphony, fourth movement, Beethoven's Deutsche Grammophon recording of this. And Singing in the Rain, and I know you're sitting there saying Singing in the Rain with all this other classical music, whether it was Moog or whether it was orchestra. How does Singing in the Rain fit in? Well, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. This sounds like a very happy, upbeat movie. Gene Kelly. It's utilized in the movie in a very dramatic and upsetting way. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you'll catch it in the movie if you take time to watch it. Carlos had done a couple of soundtracks for Kubrick. He did the music for Clockwork Orange as well as The Shining. But for me, this one, because it had so much classical music in it and songs I was familiar with from Pomp and Circumstance, William Tell, the Beethoven symphonies, it kind of resonated better with me because it was songs I knew, that, although sometimes a very different take on them. And the soundtrack did quite well as well. But how he utilized this in the film was really interesting. And again, the film has gone through a lot of different reviews and feelings, and now is considered a cult classic. And in terms of today's standards, yeah, it's still a little upsetting, but a lot of what he was doing was way ahead of its time compared to what we're seeing in movies now. So, well worth a listen. Just to give you an idea, here's the back cover. We're looking at some scenes from the movie. And again, in the record store there, as he's looking out to find himself some Beethoven music. But a very unusual film and a lot of different themes that they're exploring. So if you get a chance, worth checking it out. I'm sure it's on the streaming networks. I have a hard copy here that I have back from 1972, because at that time I really enjoyed what I was listening to here. I'd seen the movie a couple of times, and like I say, it all kind of just resonated with me, that something I wanted to be able to listen to. So it's music from the film Clockwork Orange, featuring the music of Walter Carlos. Now, just as an aside, during the time he was writing and producing this album, it was Walter Carlos, now known as Wendy Carlos. So, you know, if you're looking for some of his material, it could be under either name. And again, take a look back in '68 for the Switched On Bach, when he was first introducing this idea of incorporating Moog into classical music. Okay, that's it for today, Clockwork Orange. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday, and stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.